Dead or Alive is one of the most well-known fighting game franchises of all time. It's your typical fighting game, but one of the biggest appeals of the series is less about the fighting and the, physics. Okay, that's very unfair. There's probably plenty of unique things that Dead or Alive brought to the table. But like it or not, when people think of Dead or Alive, that's not the first thing the general public has in mind. And this isn't very uncommon. After all, other fighting games have that same sex appeal too. The difference is that Dead or Alive is more unapologetic about it, although it can get to some uncanny territory. Now, I'm not exactly good at these games. I'm just pretty terrible at fighting games in general. It's not my genre. So instead, I play Dead or Alive Xtreme, like the casual peasant I am. One of the fighters, Zach, owns a private island after winning tons of money from a casino game, where he allows all the female characters of the franchise to take a break from fighting and assassinations, to take a vacation wearing nothing but swimsuits, and playing silly games with each other, ramping up the sexualization even more. It's like a beach episode in an anime, but as an entire spin-off. It's mostly the girls modeling on a beach. But around 2014, video game criticism took a different turn, mostly from the politically correct crowd, where a lot of these games were interpreted as malicious. So say a game has a damsel in distress trope, it's not just seen as poor or generic, it's actually harmful to the viewer and racist against women. Sexualization in video games, and kind of in general, was hit with this too. So a lot of people were worried that games like these would get banned or something, because they were given these broad labels. But it's not censorship, technically. It's more coercive. They aren't going to take the games away, or ban them, but they'll keep on calling the games and the creators who make them very nasty stuff on journalist sites, calling it sexist, misogynistic, bigoted, until it gets phased out. And if you disagree, you're probably one too. Which eventually led to some very odd situations. And at some points, it kind of feels like there's some sex-negative, anti-porn agenda going on.
Hey, should there be an equal number of female protagonists as male protagonists? Sure, why not? Why not? So my favorite games star female protagonists. Let's do that. Yeah. More female protagonists. Should they be sexy? Sometimes sure, and sometimes not. That's also okay. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Whatever you want to do. Like you're the game designer. Make a cool game.
And scenes got very heated when it came to Gamergate. So when Dead or Alive Extreme 3 came out a year later, the game didn't release in America, because of fear from the press. Which, in a way, kind of proved a lot of the people fearing right. And this is what makes this game so special. Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is a sports game, apparently. You play as one of many Dead or Alive fighters to have a vacation on the island for 14 days. For one, the graphics look better. The girls still look a little bit uncanny. Oftentimes their hair will go through their face, or any other part of their body, though it's not as uncanny as the games on the PS2. You have a few mini-games to play, and there'll be missions to play these mini-games in a certain way, some of which are very strange, such as doing a mini-game where the girls have the same outfit, which costs a lot, so screw that. But some of them are really easy, like buying an instrument and playing it. I'm bad at real sports too, which means I could be good at sports and video games, right? There is an owner mode. You don't play as Zack or anything. It's actually you, the player. But playing in owner mode is a little more different. You don't actually play the minigames. Instead, you just gawk at the girls. But the strangest thing about Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is the pole dancing. And it's one I have a lot of investment in. Why? Because I spent $60 on this fucking game. In order to unlock the pole dancing minigame, you have to unlock the tickets. And there's 4 of them. And the only way to get them is by spending money on the casino, specifically in owner mode. Play the roulette wheel, and just fucking spam the entire board. I don't know how to gamble, and I'm pretty willing to bet that I'll get my ass kicked in real life if I do this. But just keep doing this multiple times. because what matters is the money you spend, not how much you win. And do this around 10 to 15 times.
That a federal judge could find this album obscene, and you guys shot yourself between the eyes.
Overall, Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 is what it is. It's a fan service game. The mini-games are weak, and it's just so shameless too, and that's the real fun of it. There is one rumor that the reason Dead or Alive 3 isn't out in America is because of poor sales. Which is total bullshit, because an executive from Sony did admit it was for cultural differences, where they think that America is too prude. And oddly enough, it appears that the Dragon's Crown controversy had a bit of a domino effect regarding this game and Sony's censorship. But despite the numerous releases, it's still not released outside Japan. However, PlayAsia did allow people outside Japan to play the game, and became one of the record-breaking products for PlayAsia at the time. And it upset a lot of people too. Now, Dead or Alive 6 was released in America, but it did tone down the sexualization a bit, even taking away the jiggle physics. But fan service is still in the game. Now, the mindset of censoring and controlling sexual content is still around. Sony has been doing this for all their games in the PS4 recently, as a way to appease people who are offended by this type of content. God damn it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want, you can see some of my other content. Hope to see you soon.